on your online materials, there's some videos how to configure your wireless network. And that's what we're gonna watch in here. I don't know why they. Okay, so let's see. Which is that primitive setup? But for some people who this is the first time, let's see. Oh, what happened to my video? It was working a while ago. Let me see. Hello, hello, hello. Test, test, test.
I can hear you.
Now we can hear each other. Okay. So we have some difficulties. All right. How's now? Sounds better.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Where is my screen? Right here. Mm. No sound. Okay, I guess I cannot use this one because there's no sound. Alrighty, let's see. You sound. All right, so let's see. We need to start chapter 13. Chapter 13. This one here, access point. Okay, let me share this view. Chapter 13. Okay, so like I was saying earlier, you have on chapter 13, you have a lot of videos. And on the videos, you can see how everything's configured, like from the wireless controller to the lab. So you need to watch those videos because really the videos it tells you all the configuration. Okay. Um, we can do some of them, but let's see. I don't know if I have the right equipment to do it, but I'm gonna try. Okay. So let's see what they're talking about first. Okay, over here they talk about the wireless router because this is like everybody's supposed to be familiar with. I'm sure at your home you have some kind of wireless. It doesn't have to be Cisco, but you have some kind of wireless uh, router because it has a multifunction. It has it's gonna be a switch, a router, DHCP server, and DNS. And also it implement NAT in it because when you connect to this router here on the back of it, you have like it depends what kind of router you have. So you have 4 port act at like a switch. And you have a WAN port. Some people call it the internet port. Some people they call it a WAN port. This is where you connect your modem. The wire comes from the cable modem or DSL, and you connect it in the back of that. So let's see if I get my packet tracer. So I can tell you what we're talking about here. I'm sure we did that before, but just to one more time. Oh man, what's wrong with this guy here? Oh, I have a one. Let's see. Every time. I put one C. That's supposed to be double C. Man. Man, man, man. Back. This is what I hate about every time we have to log in, every time we need to use this solac.edu. All right. I need to change Solac to something else. Okay. Let's see. There we go. No. Username. At solacc.edu. Why is not taking it? Password. Hey, finally. So what is the home router? You go to the wireless here, you pick up the home router right here, you double click on it, and that's what we're talking about. You have the ports that mark in yellow. It doesn't, it depends on from router to router, but you have like 4 ports, which is that's a switch, and you have this port is the WAN port, and it's not necessarily is going to mark is blue or yellow, so it depends on the routers. Okay, actually, in some routers, the WAN port is marking yellow. Okay, so and that's what you need to be aware of. Now, if you want to do the configuration, that's what you go right here. And they have a lot of different configuration here you can do. For example, you can change this one here, the address. You can change it. And the reason sometimes why you want to change it, because if your ISP has they use, for example, internal or private addresses, and usually is like 1 or 0, then you need to change this one to something else. So also it's better to do like, maybe I can do 10 instead of 0 or 11. So you can do that too. What is a subnet right here? And you do save. It's going to take time to save. So I'll put 11 here. Now I change it. You see, it was 0, now it's 11. Now, of course, you have a different settings about wireless, security. What else they're talking about? Let's see. Where's the PowerPoint? And then now you can change the router password. You don't leave it as default. Admin. You can do something else. And also you can use port forwarding. If, for example, you have video camera at your house, you want to access it, you can use that public address. So you do port forwarding. So there's a lot of settings you can do. Okay, wireless access point, you have wireless 2.4, 5G1, 5G2, and so on. Let's see what they're talking about here. And that's what they do. So somebody put notes on the chat. Who's that? First of all, can you guys hear me? I don't want to talk to myself.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Sharif.
Oh, okay. That's good. So that's how you configure it. You can do the wireless, and you can configure your SSID. You can change the name if you want. You don't want to keep it default. And also you can set up the wireless security in here. So
And that's taking place on the wireless section. What is that? Right here. So let's see, wireless. I guess you double click here, you got a GUI, I'm sorry. You go to setup wireless, for example, and this is where you change the SSD, okay, to, for example, my wireless. And if you want, you can disable or enable the broadcast. So if you want to be a secret about it, you do just do disable it. So nobody would know that SSID in there. Now, if they have some kind of wireless tool, they can discover any wireless network. But for average user, okay, they're not gonna see it. But if you wanna announce it, you just enable to broadcast. So what this does basically said, okay, when you allow it, okay, so they're gonna send me a beacon or a signal and say, I'm here. I have an SSID, my wireless, MYW. I'm here. So if you have a laptop, you try to connect to this SSID because it's announcing it's present. Now, to associate with it, you need to have what? You need to know the password. Right now, there's no password. It's not secure. So that's why it's not a good idea to go buy a wireless router and connect it to your network without configuration or to change your configuration. So how you do this, you go to security right here. And of course you have a different, every channel here, every frequency, you can make your own SSID. So this is, for example, 5G, 5 gigahertz. So you can go and say MYW5. And this is MW. Let me write it down. Copy, so I don't have to repeat. And you can put -1 or -2, whatever you want. Okay. So, and the rest of the configurations auto. So before you go to the next page, make sure you save as you go to make changes. Then if you want, you can go to security right here. And now you need to enable security, okay? So this way you don't want anybody just like open network. So you can do personal and WPA2 enterprise. This is where you need the radius server and all that stuff. This is the most secure one if you want to use a personal key. Okay, so that you have you need to put per phrase, which is I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cisco with capital C. Same thing in here, so I can copy this guy here and do the same thing. WPA2 personal, same key here, paste. And on this guy here, we're gonna do the same thing. And the key is paste. So we configure the security, so I need to save the setting. What else? Now, of course, you have, that's the wireless. Of course, you have, for example, you want to change the way you get into the box. You need to change, you go to administrator, and you need to change the default password. And over here, if you want to manage that box remotely, you say enable remotely. So you can manage it remotely. And of course, you can do updates for the firmware and all kind of settings. So this is very good. What else? We changed the the WAN setting. Let's set up. This is the internet setting. So if I have this box, you can go, if you know if your ISP give you a static address, so you can put your static address in here. If not, you keep it like DHCP. I changed this one here. It was 0. Now I put 11. Okay. You can do DHCP reservation. That's, for example, if you want to reserve a certain IP address to a specific host, you need to put the MAC address for that for the host. Okay, and you can anytime that like a printer or something, okay, you're gonna have the same IP address. It doesn't change, and that's a good idea too. Especially if you want to use that specific node or server or whatever, not to change the IP address. Close this guy here. Let's see. Close. So that's basically what this is what we're talking about. So how we can use it? I don't know. Let's see. What is it right here? So now, if you have a laptop, you go over here, and you have this guy here. So you have Ethernet. You plug it to the switch. Notice you have internet. You have gigabit one. And this guy is wireless, so I need to do the wireless like we did yesterday. Let's see, let's set. Put it back on. Okay, notice that does not connect automatically, and the reason why, because they have a key. If I don't have a key, it goes straight, boom, connect to that. So we have to go to desktop, PC wireless, you need to connect. Well, we have three of them, like we said. We have the 5 gigahertz. We get two of them, and we have the 2.4. So I'm going to connect to the 2.4, but they have all the same password. Hopefully, I still can paste it. Yes, and connect. Now it should be connected. And that's how connected. Now, of course, this guy here can talk to the laptop, no problem, because they have a DHCP server. You need to do it. Now you're going to have that 11 in there. Right? It's pretty cool. And this one, we expect to have the same desktop. We need to cancel this one, go to IP address. And this one has 11, that too. So always good to secure. Now, still this particular router is not secure. Why? Because I still have that default. So if I'm here, for example, and I go to the browser, okay, I know this is on what IP address I got from this guy here. If I go to 192.168.11.1, because that's my router. Now I can access this one here. I put admin, I believe, and admin. And voila, see, now I can access the router from this one here. To secure it, that's what you need to go to the administrator and change the password. Okay, so let's change the password to paste to confirm it. I need to paste it too. Paste right here, which is the Cisco. Remote management, yes. Okay. That's it. Save. Now it's asked me to log in again because I saved it, kicked me out. So username is admin. Of course, password. If I put admin, what's gonna happen? Nothing. So put admin and paste my password, the one I saved. Now continue setting successfully. See? So it takes like few steps to secure your network. So like I told you, when I went one time to a doctor's office and was wide open. So once I put the gateway in my phone, I accessed the this page right here. So that's no good. Let's see what else. Status. Now this one, it tells you about the router information. Opelousas. Do not talk now. So you can have V097, so you can go and update the firmware if they have any of them. And this tells you about network connections and all that stuff. Of course, you can put IP address static if, especially if you're using it for business, they give you static address. I think you have to pay like, I don't know how much per month on that. But this is an easy one. Now, if you want to go more complex on this one here, you go to, we talked about this one, admin, which is okay. Basic network setup, you can do this. That's what we do. Renew the IP address, change default DHCP IPv4 address, we just change it to 11. Change the default password, we just did, Cisco, 1234 Cisco. And that's how you can log into the router with IP address. We did it from the GUI. Basic setup, change the SSD. We already did that. So it's like simple stuff. All right. Over here, they talk about configure a wireless mesh network in the office or home network or wireless router may office to provide wireless access to all clients. If you want to exceed the range beyond approximately 4 or 5 meters indoors and 90 meters outdoor, you create wireless mesh, like so. And this is basically like we talk about whenever you design a network, you need to eliminate what we call dead spot, okay? To have a more coverage. So basically, you extend your wireless LAN. How you do that? By adding more access point. So they have some kind of formula, like each access point, it covers certain area, certain, what do you call, the diameter. And this depends on the types of material you have in that building, okay? If it depends if it's an open air, if it's a concrete wall, if it's a wood wall, sheetrock, whatever. So depends also if you have a lot of stuff in the room, like offices, plants, whatever. Because remember that the signal it's in the form of waves. So let's see. So this is your wave, like here, like this. That's the wireless signal. So what happened is, if you have a wall over here, okay. What happened here? I lost my. Uh, Okay, so that's the signal, and it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. So what happened is, if you have a wall right here, what happened to the signal? So it depends on what kind of wall. It might penetrate it, and it gets weaker, and sometimes what? It bounce. Okay, depends on what kind of. So if you are here, sometimes bouncing is good things. It's positive because you still get that signal from all the places. Same thing if you have a desk or whatever, because this is like an open air. It's a wave. Okay. Now, if this is a concrete wall, all right, that's a problem. That's a really a problem for like those kind of access point cannot penetrate. It depends on the thickness of the wall if it's concrete wall. So really, this is going to be a problem. I think that's why in when you use those scanners, like not scanner that you scan for paper. We'll talk about the scanner that they use different types of radio signal. Like they have a VH, UFH, and VHS. I don't remember exactly the name of it, but some of them has what better signal than the others. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody familiar with those? Like ham radio with the different signals? I forgot the name of it. VHF, UHF. So that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, uh, if, for example, you want to extend the area, the wireless LAN, you can put more access point. And as you can see in the figure here, you don't want to put access point just for the heck of it. You need to configure it correctly because as you can see on this particular access point, you have a channel 1. See that? 2.4 gigahertz channel 1. And over here we have channel 11. Why is that? Because channel 1 and channel 11, they don't interfere with each other's. Follow? You remember that we said about this the spectrum for 2.4? You have what is that? I keep losing my pointers. You have something like, okay, so this is like channel 1 right here. And you have, of course, you have channel 1 right here. And you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then you have another range, then another range. So the 3 channels in this 2.4 gigahertz that they do not overlap is channel 1, channel 6, and channel 11. And that's why in here you can see this one configured as channel 1. See that? And the reason why, because they don't want them to interfere. So this is channel 1 here, this is channel 11 right here. So they are far apart, so they don't have channel interference. You get the idea? I guess so. Now, to be honest with you, they get a smart in here, so they adjust itself. In the past, we used to have to go and configure it. I think this depends on the model number, what technology you're using. Okay. Um, and that's what it typically the wireless router is assigned a publicly routable address by the ISP and use a private network address for address select. Okay, so that's why when you use this kind of routers right here, okay, you have, like we're talking about, you have the 4 ports, okay, and one of these ports basically is a WAN port, and this is your modem here, your cable modem or DSL, whatever, and you plug it to this port. Once you plug it to this port, okay, your ISP, basically they give you dynamic, this configured on DHCP. So you're gonna give you a public address. That public address, so it depends on your company. Now, if you go to, you get 76 dot blah 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 blah. So they give you the address, the gateway, and 2 DNSs. Okay. Now your private network's connected over here. Well, somebody would say, okay, I'm getting 192.168 on my laptop or whatever PC right here. How come I can go to the internet? Because this little box also has what? NAT. NAT. Because if you don't have NAT, you're going through the ISP right here, ISP router, with 192.168.11 address and say, hey, where you going, buddy? Go back where you belong. Because the private IP address is not allowable to go to the internet. So that's why they use an ad. So whatever this address, public address here, you're gonna translate whatever address, the private address to this, then you go to the internet. So any question at this point? Did we do NAT in this class? I don't remember.
No, sir.
Okay, so I don't worry about that part. We'll do it next semester. Or maybe later on in one of the chapters. Any question? Quality of service. I'm surprised that you have a quality of service on this particular routers. The quality of service basically, it's very, very important, especially when you run in some kind of quality or what do you call it, critical applications. Because as we know, I mean, I'm not expecting people on home office to have very complex router. Is this one you buy it for a couple of $100 or less? Some of those is less than $100. But generally speaking, in the router, basically, always the router is a bottleneck. Okay, because in the real world situation, you have, this is your router right here, and this is the LAN. That's a bad LAN, huh? That's your LAN. So if you have hundreds of users, some of them with mustache, some of them with no mustache, but anyway, hundreds of users. So they want to go access the cloud, the internet. So at the end of the day, everybody's trying to go through the router. See that? So the router basically bottleneck. So, and we have a lot of kind of traffic right here. This guy wants video. This one is voice. This one is SQL. They log into the bank, doing transaction, whatever. So we have all different kind of signals wants to go through this router to go to the internet. So this guy has a limited amount of memory. So all this traffic is going to be first, based on first come, first serve. So they had all this traffic is going to come to a queue. Okay, so the first in the queue goes out, the second, the third, and blah, 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 blah. Well, you're going to get to a point, the queue is full, and somebody has more traffic's coming, then we're going to stop dropping this packet. You're going to have a packet loss. You're going to drop all this traffic because the queue is full. So what we do at this time? How about if this type of traffic is coming, it's very important and we cannot um, allow to be dropped. It's a critical application. So enable to do this to give high priority for this kind of traffic, especially voice and video. Okay, we have to implement quality of service. The main purpose of the quality of service is to what? To give priority for real-time application. What's a real-time application? It's the application that like voice and video that we cannot afford to delay to cause a delay. Okay. And that's why we need to give it some kind of priority. And as you can see in here, for example, on the quality policy, and this is the priority, for example, on top of the list is the IP phone, which is voice over IP, always has the highest priority. Why? Because can you imagine you say hello, hello, hello? You hear one word, oh, I cannot hear you well. Oh, I got, and that's not good. So that's why we need to implement quality of service to give priority to this. But if somebody going and watching a movie or going to what it called, whatever, some traffic is not really sharing files, playing games, whatever. Okay, we're gonna give those people low priority. And the way you set up this one here, it takes a lot of different. We have a different models of quality of service. We'll talk about it next semester, I guess, in details. Now, in order to implement quality of service, the equipment that you use, like switches, routers, whatever, need to support it. Okay. So you have to have you need to prioritize your traffic. Now I'm wondering why they talk about this one in wireless, because I don't know if I showed you that my little wireless voice over IP phone I have in my office. I bought that long, long time ago. So if I have that one, I can walk from Ordway building all the way to the Court using that phone if we have a good wireless cover. So that's what quality of service. You need to give priority to the voice. Any question at this point? Okay, let me bring this stuff down, down, up, down. All right. Of course, I have scratches here a lot. So port forwarding. Anybody knows what about port forwarding? Anybody has cameras? Or something they can access remotely. Like if you want to access your machine from the classroom, if you're out in the classroom, you want to access your machine at home, what you do? You can use a remote desktop. And if you know your public address, you can do port forwarding and you forward that traffic to your PC at home. So that's what you do. You do remote desktop. Okay. This is okay, but it's not recommended because it's not secure. But it's a tool that you can use on those cheaper router. Okay. But if you want to be secure, you have to do like we do. Not like what we're doing here. You need to put some kind of what? Use VPN. See that line? and use some of the Cisco. Let's see. Cisco AnyConnect Security Mobile Mobility Client, VPN. See that? You can use a VPN. So if I want to connect to this guy here somewhere, you have to put a password. It prompts you to connect anyway. It prompts you to put your username and password to be secure. If not, you just put remote desktop and you put the public address and you can access your machine at home, like what we did here. Remote desktop, you see. Now, of course, because now over here is connected to my network, but in your case, if you have a port forwarded in your router, you put your public address. Where are you going to get the public address from? From your ISP. And the bad things about it is this address is not going to be the same all the time. And that's why it's not recommended. But if you want to do that, you can do port forwarding. Port forwarding basically, let's see. So if you are at your school or work or whatever, okay, and this is your home right here, and you want to connect to your PC at home, in your home you have this little Linksys router, which is connected to your PC somehow in the port, and it's connected to your cable modem, whatever. And you're over here. So over here, you put the remote desktop and goes hits the router right here. When you do remote desktop, you type in the public address, 76.1.10, whatever number is, 5. So it hits this one here. Now you're hitting the router, but you're not hitting your PC. Once you get that traffic to your router, you put port forward. That means forward that traffic to whatever IP address you put, which is the IP address of your local machine right here. And that's how it works. Question about this one. No question? Okay, so we have port triggering, which allows the router to temporarily forward data through inbound port to a specific device. And you can use port triggering to forward data to a computer only when designated port range is used to make an outbound request. Like, for example, if you're doing FTP server or such things, okay? But anybody use the port forwarding?
I do.
Yeah. Especially like small business, like I have a lot of friends and they have a small businesses and they have cameras and say, oh, I want to go and watch my store and this and that. It's okay. You go and enable port forwarding and you access that, what do you call that little device that record DVR? And you can access all the cameras and all that stuff. Now they have special apps for that application. You put in your phone and you can watch it. Anybody does video like cameras and stuff like this? That's a good business to get to it. Anybody does cameras? No?
I used to. Don't do it anymore.
Why not? You cannot make money?
Too much of a pain in the neck.
Yeah, you want to climb the attics and run cables and this and that.
No, I hate that.
Yeah, I got some friends that they asked me if I know somebody. I said, well, I know somebody in somewhere, Monkey or something. So I gave him his phone number. flavor. Okay, so the next topic, which is really, this is the real routers right here, the real wireless. When we deal with the WLC, when you deal with the controllers. Controller basically, as the word indicates, basically, it controls all the wireless LAN. It controls the authentication, it controls the APs. So you don't want to go configure every AP to put this channel, that channel, and all that stuff. So the controller will handle all that stuff for you. It's like a centralized management for all your wireless LAN. Okay. So that's why they use that. And in your, if you go to your online content and you go to this chapter, they really have very useful video. It tells you how to configure the wireless controller. And that's what you need to watch. I was going to do it in here, but for some reason, the sound was terrible. So it tells you exactly what to do right here in that video. All this stuff here, it tells you in the video. Let me see. I was able to play it this before we connected to here. I don't understand that. Let me see. We have a new user. All righty, let's see. Where is that video? Let's see. Video, wireless video. Yeah, for some reason, when we use the Webex, it kills my video on the in there. So I guess I don't know why. Let me stop it right here. But this is something you need to do, okay? So everything in here that we need to talk about is in that video. So please watch that video. And if you have a question, let me know. But this is all this configuration in the video. Okay? All the configuration. It shows you how to do everything. So I'm going to give you a homework like this to configure this one here, like according to the video. Watch the video, configure this one here with packet tracer and send it to me. This one today is 10/7/10, which is Friday. When you think you can submit it? So I'm gonna put them as an assignment. What do you think?
Tuesday.
Let's do it Tuesday or Tuesday. I'll give you till Wednesday. How about that?
Okay.
Sounds good. So
Yes, sir.
this is basically chapter 13. Okay, so we talk about a little bit about the beginning of the chapter, but the rest of the chapters really it's related to the videos. Okay, so please watch those videos and do this assignment right here. Okay, and this is gonna be worth 100 points. So whoever configured it properly, it gets 100 points. Um, actually, will be your skill, okay, skill test for this segment, all right? Or maybe I can give it to you as a project. Let's do it as a project. All right, sounds good.
Yes,
What,
sir.
what about as a project, wireless project? Now, let's talk about the test. Test we said is gonna be Monday, right? From chapter what? Let's see.
10 to 13.
10 to 13. 10 to 13. I think this is a lot of material to cover, so I don't want to give you. Do you want a skill test or you don't need a skill test?
Project
Tell you
and
what, I'm sorry. Just focus on the test.
Yes, sir.
All right, just focus on the test, and I'm gonna give you this one as a project. Has 100 points. So after you finish the test, you can. You need to watch this video anyway for the test. So Wednesday, I mean, you don't have to wait for the last minute. Start on it this weekend, and by Wednesday you finish it. You can upload it. So I'm gonna put it in your assignment now. Let's see if I can access it. I'm gonna call it wireless project. Okay, the wireless project. It's gonna be 100 point. And it's gonna be due, upload files, use packet tracer. I wanna make it available today at 12, starts 12 today. Until Wednesday. Wednesday will be what? The 15, which is right here.
Yeah.
15, about 4 p.m. or 5 p.m.
That works.
Save and published. All right, it's already done. Repeat that again. Okay. The wireless project is due Wednesday at 5 o'clock, 4:59 p.m. And what do you know what you need to do? You need to do this project right here. Watch the video and do the implementation right here.